Fred Armisen came up to me. And he's like, hey, man, you're a good drummer. And all I could muster was like, oh, well, the thing fell down. And I just like, it wasn't very good. Like, I didn't feel that good about it. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry for dumping this on you. Thank you very much. And then I left.
I think when we talk about that inner dialogue, like one of the things that you're alluding to that I definitely agree with is you can evaluate your self-talk based on what if another person was saying that to you. So if you and I were in a conversation about this thing with performance anxiety with Seth Meyers, somebody busted in and been like, why are you afraid? It's going to be fine. Everybody's rooting for it. It's like, all right, with all due respect, just ease up. Like, why? Yeah. Like, first of all, like, I get it that you're kind of trying to help, but like that's not really helpful. What would really be helpful is to start and being like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? And let's start with an acknowledgement of like, yeah, what a big deal this is and how much you've done to come to get here. Now, if you want to build on the strength of, hey, like, let's think of all the times that you've taken this on, and that might be helpful. But first, let's just say, yeah, this is huge. I'm a little bit more concerned about people who aren't, kind of wondering about this at the moment. And maybe that's part of the reason why you've been successful is that you're able to pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, it's like, you worry about like a sort of, not to be flippant because I don't want to be insulting, but it's just like a sociopathic detachment from a situation. And it's like, yeah, like that would raise concerns if you're totally emotionally detached from a situation. But the scenario you're presenting it's right. It's like, yeah, if someone busted in and was denigrating, it's obvious that you want to push back against that. I think where I get into trouble, and this is like a lot of people get into trouble, human brains are so clever. They wouldn't come in straight up criticizing you. They would say, well, you chose it, so do you have any right to be upset? And that's the inner dialogue that I'm facing. So you're just like, even if I were to pull up certain, self-verifying comments, I wouldn't even believe them. I don't believe them when they come from other people. Like, what's crazy to me is the first time we were on Seth, so everything went. So I was hyper terrified, which makes sense. That makes sense to me. And I play drums, so one of the legs on my floor tom collapsed during the performance while we're like doing the live taping, and all I could do, my reaction was I just laughed. I was just like, of course. Like I'm trying to be prepared as possible for every scenario. And then this thing happened. And so we come off stage, and speaking to my previous point of like, you won't believe it when someone tells you you were good. Fred Armisen came up to me, and he's like, hey, man, you're a good drummer. And all I could muster was like, oh, well, the thing fell down. And I just like, it wasn't very good. Like, I didn't feel that good about it. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry for dumping this on you. Thank you very much. And then I left. Instead of being like, holy crap, it's crazy to meet you, Fred Armisen, and thank you for the nice... I was just like caught in this like sort of narcissistic spiral of self-hatred. And later on, I actually messaged him like, sorry, I didn't respond to your compliment very well. I appreciate it. And he's like, you deserve it. He was very, very sweet. But that's like sort of the mindset is like you get locked into this, like even a much lauded entertainer tells you that you were good, and you're just like, nah, you're wrong. And that's so if you can't believe somebody else, you can't believe yourself. It's like it doesn't leave a lot of room for a sort of like upward spiral in a sense. So yeah,
it's also I don't know if I have this quote right, but I feel like I heard somewhere Jimi Hendrix said like, I don't like compliments, they're distracting. And there is something I think there is a little bit of an issue that people have where even though it's gratifying to get the compliments, it reinforces the evaluative matrix and the evaluative system. And so there is a question of like, well, how would one do this? And saying like, if it's saying like, okay, I'm going to give my best effort, and then whatever happens, whatever worked, and whatever didn't, I can kind of evaluate. One might argue that if we give up the sheer joy and elation of doing something well, then we just say, because that's not really the point. Like, the point is, I'm always going to be working on trying and improving. There's something, at least from my perspective, that's a little more, it's safer on that level. But then you have to give up. It's a nice. Fred Armisen comes up and says something nice here. It's like, man, I don't want to give up that compliment. That's like,
Yeah.
It's like, that's part of why you do things like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about having a balance. Like, first of all, it's like having the sort of, as I was speaking to before, having the sort of self-refuge to be propellant in that way, like on your own gas, without being arrogant, but like being balanced, but also like being able to hear other people's opinions, not let it gas you up too much, and just be able to recognize that it was a nice thing for them to say that. But the trouble I get into is, like, I flatly have never believed anything positive, or not never, but like I scarcely believe anything positive I think about myself and what other people think about me. And that's when somebody tells you something good, you can't even take it in.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the sort of projects of, like, I don't know, like there's a podcaster, Rick Hansen, that's like kind of his thing is like taking the good, and as a way to like build this sort of self-agency, self-efficacy feeling. And it's more like a jumping off point, so you can start to recognize there might be some good in you, so you can take it and run with it and have a better relationship to yourself. And I think you're right. It's like you need a sustainable model of esteem, basically. I don't even like the word esteem because it implies value. It's like self-regard. You need a sustainable model of self-regard, and that means like having a good relationship to yourself, and that includes making mistakes and having the grace to forgive them and getting better.